I'm Mickey. That's Candice. That's Gerard. Today on Canceled Weekly, we have the Whatever podcast. Has some drama. There's a questionable hustle that you might want to take note of. Jackie Chan's daughter's tripping. And we have a good Between Two Ferns clip. But first, we have Kevin Spacey and Tucker Carlson talking on Christmas Eve.
Is there anyone in this country who could jump in at this late date and re-scramble the calculus of electoral politics?
Well, that's really a decision for the people, Tucker. It's not something that I really think about or want to do. And Merry Christmas to you, too. But I've always believed that nothing should be off the table in life or in art. I think we could both agree that we need to get some adults back in the room, so if that means taking on the chief executive role, well, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for this great nation.
But lots of people want to be president. What would you specifically bring that others aren't?
Well, I think I have a long and very solid relationship with the public, and that's a bond that has never been broken. I mean, I've almost felt like I can talk to them directly.
Well, I mean, you do talk to them. Every Christmas you give a statement. It is Christmas Eve. What is your statement specifically this year?
You know, Tucker, I think it's just good enough to sip some eggnog and decorate the tree and listen to White Christmas and embrace all the things that make this such a special day. The truth is, I love nothing better on this day than to do a line of blow, drink a whiskey and Coke, hit a reindeer with my car, and wish you all the naughtiest Christmas ever.
I mean, people have already gotten out of the race. People have dropped out already. What do you think of those?
Well, you know, it's a little bit like jumping in the jacuzzi with a you know it ain't gonna last forever. So I wasn't surprised when Mike, a little too pensive, jumped out right away.
I wasn't either.
I like Vivek, Drain the Ramaswamy, and Nikki Haley is tough. She's no doubt learned a thing or two by watching me. But I think in the end, we need someone in the White House who's not afraid, like me, not afraid to push our country or a journalist in the right direction, if it comes to that.
Wow.
Give the people what they want, Kevin Spacey.
I need a quick context. Guys,
Yeah.
that's dead ass serious. That's real. That's not fake. That's not like Photoshop where they film
Wait. What
Tucker.
do you mean by dead? It's Kevin Spacey playing a character.
I know that. I mean, that's Tucker and Kevin Spacey sitting down together.
Correct.
Because you don't see them both on camera, and like Kevin seems like he's saying Tucker a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so people could look that up and see like that whole video.
It's
Correct.
on Tucker's TikTok.
X. Yeah, he put it out on X. And now they got, what is it, TuckerCarlson.com or Tucker TV or whatever it is. Yeah, nobody really understands like where it came from or what it means. And the comments are like, what's this mean?
I thought it was fake when I was watching it for the first time, like because you know he like Kevin keeps being like Tucker, but like he you know what I mean, he wasn't laughing at talking about doing blow and running over a reindeer or whatever the fuck he said.
Yeah, the House of Cards. You know, they even went further in the actual where they talked about Netflix and they threw a bunch of shade at Fox. It was very interesting.
All right, it's just I'm sure people in the audience are gonna think that's not legit too. Like that was a fake video that aren't aware like I am.
There's like very strange though because like Kevin Spacey's accused of some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So
but he's been
nothing's off.
exonerated. He's been exonerated. You know, so
Yeah, he's like nothing's off the table in life and art.
Maybe
don't be caught in the car with underage boys.
Yeah, don't the kill him with kindness thing is rough. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where he did the Frank Underwood kill him with kindness. And
Man, I haven't heard that name in a while. That was a good show. House
It
of
was
Cards.
an epic show until they took him out of it.
Yeah,
And
horrible.
it went on fire.
Yeah, it's terrible.
What do you guys think this means? Is this just a joke? This is like a ha Merry Christmas?
I don't know. I was really confused when I saw it, and at first I was thinking, are they doing a reboot and they're bringing him back on? But then he goes after Netflix, and he's like, basically, let's not forget I made Netflix. There was no Netflix before me. Well, he's definitely not going back on after that.
That Dadoom is him. I never knew that. They said it. That Dadoom, that's from House of Cards.
Oh.
So that like every single time you open Netflix and it goes Dadoom, it's from House of Cards.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that show was huge when it came out.
There
Massive.
really was no reason to have Netflix before House of Cards. That was like the first. That was like when
The
HBO
first, like, programming,
I
yeah.
guess when HBO kind of
So-
like had Oz, it was like the first
Right,
time you
right,
like,
right.
have to have HBO.
So the thing with Kevin Spacey in this and the accusations is I immediately think about other men that have been in similar positions like Johnny Depp, where you have, or Russell Brand, and you have people that come out with accusations with no burden of evidence. There's no police reports filed, and then this man loses everything overnight. And to me, that doesn't seem like a people in a country that are supposed to be supportive of due process supporting that. Right? Like, this is very heavy, but there needs to be a police report and there needs to be evidence. And then you have to be able to be judged by your peers or a judge and have a conclusion. If not, it doesn't seem right to take away someone's entire career, blackball them from an entire industry, and then just ruin their reputation and say, like, you were a rapist or you were a pedophile or whatever without proof. You can't throw something like that at someone just because they're a man and somehow that's a crime now and you're guilty because you have a penis. That doesn't sit well with me.
Especially an industry that just gave Roman Polanski a Lifetime Achievement Award.
I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
The internet knows. The internet
He was
knows.
what, statutory? He was, Roman Polanski was married to Sharon Tate, who was murdered in the Manson murders. And then he statutory raped.
Drugged and fucked a 13-year-old in, I believe,
so,
Jack
well,
Nicholson's.
drugged, that's a straight up
Was it Jack
rape.
Nicholson's house? They were having like a party. It's like, yeah. It's,
He drugged her.
believe so.
So Spacey's back.
Yeah.
He's been
He
back.
never got, like, he
never got
was convicted,
convicted
right?
of
Never?
anything.
Yeah.
Separate
Right.
the art from the artist, man. You don't want Michael Jackson babysitting your kids, but you want him singing karaoke, god damn it. You know? You don't want O.J. Simpson dating your sister, but some bitch can run the rock. Separate the art from the artist, man. Guy can act. The show was good.
Isn't there a point, though? Isn't there a point?
Yeah, the
where
point is
that
conviction.
tips?
The conviction is the point.
Right. So if any of these people were convicted, then would you say can't absorb the art, can't consume the art?
Do you think it's okay to sing R. Kelly?
I mean, I don't know.
Are we
the
going to
last
act
time
like
I
Ignition
heard-
doesn't exist because he was PPing on
I know,
Well,
but
he was
it's,
also,
I
like,
guess it's the
keeping
difference.
sex slaves? R. Kelly did some wild shit.
It's the difference though between buying an album and then choosing to put it on, and you can just say not for me anymore.
So as long as like it comes on, you're like, oh, okay, I can listen to
Well,
Remix to Ignition.
What
Hot and
what's
fresh
so
out
you
the
mentioned
kitchen.
Russell Brand.
Mm-hmm.
I think you mentioned someone else too. What's the status of Russell Brand?
I
He
think
was
that
accused,
disappeared, right? It blew over. There was no police report.
Right.
There
It's
was
just an
no. The
accusation.
women didn't come forward with their name. It was just some journalist
Mm-hmm.
that was like, "Well, women came forward. Well, what women? How many women?
Yeah.
Did they file a report? What happened?"
Who watched the Amber Heard trial and came out of it going,
No, Johnny Depp. That was the other person you
Yeah,
mentioned. Yeah.
that trial. It consumed me. I was like, "When is it on? I gotta watch it. Where are the clips?" It was great theater.
what'd you
She's
think?
a lunatic.
You got that
She's
vibe?
a fucking lunatic. She pooped in his bed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she shit
Are
the
you
bed
kidding
literally.
me?
She
That's
does-
all you need. Any female that's like, I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna poop in our bed. Crazy town. Go the other way.
Yeah.
And on my side of the bed was human fecal matter.
That's disgusting.
Abort. Leave.
Going
She was
after
dating,
Germans
old,
hard there.
Old Elon Musk too, right?
Well, didn't they have a kid together?
I don't know.
Yeah,
They have
in
a kid,
vitro,
right?
allegedly. But who doesn't have a baby with good old Elon now?
Are you trying to tell us something?
I mean, well, guys.
Let Elon throw one in. You know what I mean? Hey,
For the
for
low,
all-
low cost of 1,000 Bitcoin, friend.
I would let Elon Musk artificially inseminate me. You know?
How do you think
What
that'd go
about
over with your
what
husband?
about
Probably not great.
He wouldn't dig it.
Probably not great.
what artificially inseminate you? What about like just the
I think
good
that's how he
old-fashioned
does
way?
it. I think that's how he does it.
Yeah, probably because it's like all machine parts now.
He likes machines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Elon loves himself
Yeah.
some machines.
This was inefficient. I couldn't. I don't know.
He's
I
a busy
can't-
man. He doesn't have
cock-
time for love
It
making.
was inefficient. It doesn't do what I want to do.
No,
what I want to do.
yeah,
right?
you go one time in a cup, and how
South
many?
Africa.
Yeah, spread that.
He's from
seed.
South Africa.
South Africa.
South Africa.
Yeah.
South.
South. Yeah.
It's kind of like Australian.
He just gives you his blood diamonds in 9 months. Do you think Elon's kid takes 9 months to gestate, or is it like 4 months and then it comes out
Yeah,
on a
right.
rocket?
Yeah, on a rocket. Yeah, immediately.
Nah, well, I guess whatever with those accusations, since he hasn't been convicted. Speaking about whatever, Huh?
That's cute.
How did I lose
Speaking
my
of
job?
whatever. Come on, man. I'm a natural. The kid's a natural. Roll the clip, please.
You're bored. Make this conversation less boring. Go ahead. I'm waiting.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire, Brian?
Is that your best effort?
Sure.
In any case, you're not particularly adding to the conversation. You've been disrespectful this entire time. You're entitled. You're rude. You have TikTok brain. You cannot stay focused. We've only been live for an hour and a half or so. I'm gonna ask you to leave.
Okay.
So get up, get the fuck out. On my deadass podcast, bitch, you fucking do OnlyFans, you fucking degenerate. Good, they're all gone.
Oh, his little voice was stuttering when he tried to be a man.
Who are these guys? And now, didn't we do a clip of one of theirs before?
Yeah, the other
They were
host.
talking about you're not allowed to divorce even if you're getting beat or cheated on.
Correct.
Well, if the cycle doesn't stop, Mickey. So like it can go a few times, but if the cycle doesn't stop,
Then maybe you can?
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, but first you got to talk to the Lord and your priest, and it has to become a cycle.
Well, in fairness, first you got to let your jaw heal, then talk to the Lord
Right.
and your priest. So funny.
Yeah, so what's the deal with these guys? We like them.
I don't.
You
at
dislike
all.
them.
I think when you use the argument for religion for anything, and if someone else doesn't subscribe, what are you doing? What game are you playing? You can't do that unless we agree on the foundation, right? Then you can't call me a degenerate because I don't subscribe to your religion. Now, if we're both supposed to be Catholic and I'm behaving in a way that it's hypocritical, then I think it's fair game. But when you're coming at someone from like a religious standpoint and a more like a moral authority, it's like based off of what?
Yeah.
Well, excuse me to the whatever pod. I'm not very familiar with them. I see. It seems like they have just like the couple clips we've had. They have like OnlyFans chicks on, and then kind of like
Dunk on them.
yeah, just kind of like try and intellectually like dominate them. Mm-hmm. Is that pretty much the
the quote
basis?
unquote red pill community is really kind of like diverging into two secular groups. One of them is, you know, the Jocko Willinks of the world, you know, this betterment community, this idea.
fuck with that? I vibe with that.
Sure, and even that could get extreme with the Gogginses, and that, you know, every
Sure.
minute of every day has to be dedicated to improvement, and you know,
Hell yeah, brother.
yeah.
Start
And
doing push-ups right now. I need a pull-up bar. Up here. I'm sorry.
the other way is this idea really they can dress it any way they want to dress it. People are just getting off on dudes yelling at women.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. They can say
Kind of
it's
like women hating.
it's
Yeah.
women hating.
Yeah.
And as a guy who hates women, I find it fucking distasteful. Okay.
Even you.
Even me. Well, because
Even you. Look at you.
Well, because man, you know what it is more than anything else is it's unprofessional and it's fucking hack. All right. And
Got you, yeah.
you know, the whatever guys, the fresh and fit guys, they get these women on. All right. They're casting them. This is Jerry Springer, right? This is just the de-evolution of what we're doing into, you know, this is the new reality show, and then this is like the salacious reality type. You know, this is the new Maury Povich, and they're telling these girls you're a whore, and nobody's going to tell you you're a whore because you're hot. And they're for their audience, they're taking the power back from these hot chicks who are like, you can't afford me. Blah blah. It's disgusting people shitting on disgusting people and then getting high fives for it. But then, meanwhile, one of the dudes rolls up in our comments because he doesn't like what we said in our clip, and
That
he's
was
like,
one of the whatever bros?
yeah,
So what's his name?
Ryan something?
whatever.
Oh yeah, and I remember he was like, this clip doesn't do it justice or something.
Yeah.
And it seemed like we had a pretty significant part of the clip.
Right, and I watched the whole unedited thing. It's not better.
Yeah.
And I invited him on, and he
No, I've
declined.
said this already. Oh, okay. So you like talking to 19-year-old women who are on your show for free, by the way, then disrespecting them because why? They're not giving you what? You're adding nothing to this conversation. Bitch, you're not paying me. What am I getting out of this? Right? So like what if we invite somebody on and the entire thing is either agree with me or I get mad at you? What happened here? Also, and here's the truth of it. And this is just, and their guys come after me all the time. They call me a simp, a white knight. I've been called a fucking liberal. I've been called a snowflake.
He was the most mad about liberal.
By
How
far.
dare they?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? They call me woke. I was like, all right, we need to have timeout. This is timeout. You know, and then
You're laughing at all the other ones.
Yeah.
And you hear that, and you're like, not funny.
What are we doing? Yeah, go back to the fat jokes. What the fuck? But then, do you in a million years think that they would talk to us like that? In a million fucking years?
No, and I'm pretty sure that's what Candice said in the comments.
In a
He was
million years.
When he declined, I was like, hey, bro, if you want to come on the pod and talk about it, you're welcome. And he was like, thanks, but I, blah, blah, blah.
Thanks, but I'm a bitch.
Yes, and then Candice like, yeah, no, he would never say those things
That
in front
guy,
of me and Gerard.
and the way he escalated at the end after he realized she was going to leave, where he's like, that's right, and you get the fuck out. Yeah, and then you guys can leave too. And it was like, all right. Bro, if that happened, I would literally leave and pull a fucking Chaz and lock the door and be like, now we're fucking talking until I'm done talking.
Well, now they're never going to come on the podcast.
No.
We should have a little bit of
if
discord.
you're going to, I promise you this, we will show them
won't
the
hurt
respect that they do not show. I can promise you that. You can, and the thing is, I agree with them more than I disagree with them. It's what they're doing and how they're doing it I find so
You agree with
distasteful.
them more than you disagree
I
with
agree with them more than I
So
disagree with them.
what do you agree with that you've seen?
I agree with the way that, and this maybe is more for like the fresh and this is a whole community that's growing. The fresh and fit, the Adam 22, the fucking other people I won't give clout to.
Well, Adam 22 is super pro sex worker.
No, but it's the idea of saying salacious shit in a disrespectful manner. You know, that is, you know, it's kind of this gotcha thing, because if you're in that position, I know I'm going to get a fucking money clip out of this. I've already got you. Either you're going to get upset and I'm going to remain calm and you're going to look like an asshole, or you're going to sit there and say nothing and now I've owned you. You look like an asshole. You get up and leave. You look like an asshole. I've set this up so that, man, well, look at this money clip. How many views does that have?
Probably a lot.
You know, and what he was a disrespectful fucking bitch. That's not how you do this. You know, hey, agree. You're not giving me what I want, so now leave. Who the fuck do you think you are? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe the onus was on you to get them engaged, to get them incorporated.
Yeah. Be a good interviewer, if you want to call that, or conversationalist. Like, yeah, exactly. Get people involved.
And was she a brat? Sure. What do you think about the Roman Empire? And I've talked about this. We've done this on Slick and Thick, and it didn't go so well with some other guests. Where I'm like, we don't always have to go to the lowest shit. We can. You're smart. You should try to be smart, and it didn't always go well, right? But it's like, I didn't sit there and go like, if you're gonna keep being dumb and talking about sex, you got to get the fuck up and leave. Because who would do something like that?
I think he's doing it to get a clip like this to be featured on Canceled Weekly or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's trying to make like a viral argument moment. Where it's like, oh shit, he kicked her out. You know what I mean? It's a little contrived, if you ask me. I think it's a little contrived. It's like, I'm gonna disrespect them, and I'm going to get a bunch of views on that shit.
I agree. Then do it. Punch at your own fucking weight class.
Don't punch down. Don't bring on young women who
don't bring on a 19-year-old who's already
don't fancy themselves an intellectual.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna...
Well, the one time they did that is when they got owned by the internet, was when they had Destiny's now, I guess, ex-wife on.
Well, they just ran and they just did fucking victory laps about that online for that marriage breaking up.
Yeah, but how many? It's almost 50% due, and then if you're married a second time, I think it jumps up to 70%. So like, we can sit there and pretend that their marriage fell apart because they had an abnormal arrangement. That's nonsense. How many relationships that are quote monogamous end in divorce? It's almost half. So we cannot pretend that it's because they were
wait, I got to push back on that though, because those numbers are skewed because the same people keep getting divorced over and over. So it's not really 50%.
What do you mean?
So the that's like one of those numbers that like has been said so much that everybody just believes it to be true.
It's like 40 something.
But it's the same people getting divorced. So like, people will have 5 or 6 wives. Or like, they'll get married 3 or 4 times. No,
they can account for that, because second marriages, it's 70%. So
yeah,
that's accounting for the remarriage.
But they're taking all marriages together, is what I'm saying, and they're just like dividing by the amount of people. It's just a little bit of it's not a significant thing. But it's like, it's not 50-50. It's closer to like 39-61 or something like that, if you count the people who've been married and divorced multiple times.
Okay, well, 39 is still...
Sure.
If you're going to walk out this door and 39% chance you are going to get hit by a car, you're going to wait till tomorrow?
No, it's true. But if I had 39% chance of hitting the lottery, I'd play it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good odd.
It's so interesting. Somebody that's married is like, it's like getting hit by a car. Somebody that's not married is like, it's like winning the lotto. Yeah. All I'm saying is this, right? if you're a fighter, if you saw that somebody was beating the shit out of like a 15-year-old kid and being like, come on, punch back, all you would want to do is hit the guy who was hitting the kid, right?
Yeah, try that on me.
You're so tough. Fight a fighter.
Yeah.
All I'm saying with these guys is video after video. Rollo Tomasi, fucking Fresh and Fit, fucking the Whatever podcast, the Red Pill, the Manosphere, clip after clip after clip.
They're
the
fighting
fucking man.
tomato cans.
They're the man. Yeah.
They're fighting tomato cans.
Come
They're
on,
arguing. They're doing Discord and
Jake
debate.
Paul, come on in. Let's have a conversation, Jake. There's a woman here. Bully her. Yeah. Bully her.
Jake bullies girls?
No, I'm calling him Jake Paul. But I guess Jake Paul, to me, Jake Paul fights real fighters.
Jake Paul fighting.
You know what? That's like such a Nickelback thing of me to do. I like Jake Paul. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
Don't
Jake Paul.
disrespect Jake Paul.
I am sorry. I just treated Jake Paul like he was Guy Fieri or something, which fucking...
You're right, bro. That was a questionable take. Whatever podcast, you got questionable actions, and if you want to come on and discuss, we invite you. Speaking of questionable, we got a questionable hustle right over here.
New thing that kids are doing to make money, right? Basically, on their car, they get like paint markers and they write girls trip. They put their Venmo and they're at like buy us a drink, bachelorette party. There's this guy that does it. So he writes all this like girls trip stuff and he'll drive around. And he said he makes more money doing this shit than working like a full-time job.
Whoa.
Because you are just sending money to the Venmo.
People do it and they drive through rich neighborhoods, like areas.
They're like, leave their like car parked at like a downtown area.
That's genius. Does he put like on a wig and like a satchel? Like,
that's what I wonder. Like his windows must be tinted or something.
And then other people do like just married Venmo us.
And what are they driving?
Doesn't matter, just any car.
Yeah.
It's a trend right now. Like people go on bachelorettes and they'll write the Venmo and be like, buy us a drink, whatever. Now people are taking advantage of it and they're gonna ruin it for like people that were like wholesome about it and they were getting a little bit of like money for their trip. Now nobody's gonna send anything because this person ruined it. But it is brilliant. There's people that quit their jobs because they said they're making more.
Ooh,
Yikes.
what do you guys think? I think this is unscrupulous behavior, and people should definitely not do it. And I'm definitely not going to have my girl drive my truck around Miami with a Venmo on the back.
Candice?
I mean, that is so dangerous for women to be doing. I don't think that they realize this. It is so dangerous to do that. You're putting your account on your car. Now they think that you are without a dude, like you're out with just your girls. Now you're an easy target. You're out getting drunk. They're going to follow you, and you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Time out. You're saying
if for the girls that are actually doing it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Ladies, do not do that.
Just like Steve
Your
Irwin's
dad should have
kids.
taught you better.
Yeah, girls
Don't
night.
do that. Don't do that. You're going to find yourself in a real dicey situation. To the guys doing that, that's fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
You think it is?
I think it's hysterical.
I feel like it's a little bit taking advantage of people's goodwill, wanting to be like, hey, you know what? I remember, you know what I mean? Especially probably like some older folks, if they got Venmo, being like, I remember my bachelor party being, you know, here's some money. And then really it's just some fucking douchebag who's
I think it's, who do you think is giving money to the girls? I think it's some dude, and he's like, oh, what's her at? And he finds it, he sends her money. He's hoping that she sees who sent it, and the mutual follow, and maybe they'll bump into each other at the bar. It's not like grandma and grandpa sending some money. It's a dude.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's dudes giving money to dudes, and that is hysterical.
Yeah,
Don't do
that's
that.
the Andrew Tate model.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my God, you're so hot, baby. Yeah, thanks so much. You're so hot. That's the dude. Anyway, I know people that their girls did OnlyFans and that they would charge like $20 for a dick rating, and it would be the dude doing the dick rating every single time. Like we would be driving from show to show.
Does it mean more if it comes from a guy though? Like if a guy was to compliment your junk, would you be like, oh, that carries a little bit more weight?
Yeah, but I don't think it was organic. I think
I think
the guy was like, hey,
they're trying to fluff him.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I mean, just to get some more money.
Get some more money. Yeah, everything about this is grotesque to me. I hate it all. I don't even like the tipping culture anymore. Like I made a point the other day. My sisters were on the line with me, and they ended up like becoming so mortified they actually just walked out of the store.
Why?
We're at the coffee shop, and I just asked for a cup of coffee with milk, and she was like, "Okay, the milk's on the side over there." I'm like, "All right." And then she's like, "Well, you just got to answer a question," and then the question was a tip, and then she's like looking around, and I'm like, so what do I press to not tip? And she's like, what do you, oh, you just hit the X. I'm like, so if I hit this X, you don't get a tip? She's like, yeah. I was like, because I want to make sure I'm the one pouring the milk in, I'm doing the work, I don't want you to get a tip. And I'm being like very loud about this. I'm like, I just want to be clear here. She's like, yeah, just hit the X. I'm like, and then you won't get the money. Okay, so here's the X.
You just wanted to ensure that she was getting no extra money.
I wanted to make sure the whole line heard me that I wasn't tipping for her handing me the cup of coffee that was already $6.
Right.
And then making me go put the milk in myself. And there's going to be people that hear this. And then there's another clip going around about this girl, which, sidebar, if you clap while you talk, you are my mortal enemy. If you clap while you talk, What
do you mean?
Oh, boy.
Tell me what you mean.
I'm going to poison your food. Enjoy the diarrhea.
I'm going to shit your car.
It's all right. I'll sit in the misery just knowing that's worse for you. But she's talking about if you can't tip 25%, these go around like once every year. She's a bartender. She's like, if you can't tip 25%, don't even come out.
Well, that wasn't a thing. Tipping on alcohol was never a thing.
10%.
Never before. Like for
Tipping on alcohol?
Yeah, our parents, that wasn't a thing.
Like at the bar?
Yeah, maybe at the bar it might have been different. Maybe it was like a $5 here and there, and just like more intermittently. But if you were out to dinner, you would take alcohol off the tab, and then you would calculate.
Yes,
tip.
they used to give you the check that had dinner and then alcohol.
Because if you buy let's say you buy a $500 bottle of wine, it's the exact same amount of effort than if you're buying a $10 bottle of wine. So why am I tipping 20%?
Okay, interesting.
Right?
That makes sense.
You would do like an corking fee,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And then there would be, and then it was also supposed to be before tax. And it was also supposed to be like, so this idea, let's just use quick numbers because everybody loves math, right? So like, let's say it's $10 for dinner. And then it was $2 in taxes, $12 total. Your tip, 20% of that is $2.40, right? Okay, fine. Now you got a $3 fee for using your credit card. Inflation's got the $10 dinner up to $14. Taxes have gone up. So now that $10 meal is now, to your point, that $10 meal is like what, $17? The service hasn't changed. If anything, the service has gotten worse.
Yeah.
Now you're supposed to pay $3.40.
I would love to see the metric for how many people were like guilted into tipping. Like when they put the thing in front of you and kind of like look at you like, you gonna press, what are you gonna press? You know what I mean? It's like, I just drove here to pick up the food. I'm paying you for the food that you made. What do you mean? Why would I tip you? Why would I tip you? I've had people go 20%.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm very generous. Maybe too much so sometimes. You know what I mean? They want 20% as if they just waited on me all night. Crazy.
They're giving an option now for 30%
I'm like, no, bro.
on bills.
Yeah.
Some of them say suggested tip 25%. Is what I'm talking about.
You know, it's like 20, 25, 30.
Crazy.
It's some of them give 15. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck.
There was one restaurant in Asbury Park that said an 8% upcharge has been added to your check so we can provide health care to our, and they like did this like whole thing. I called them. I was like, I'm not paying this. You pay your employees. This is already $20 for tacos. No, you pay it.
Yeah.
Your drinks are $14 each. I got like, again, so because you're obnoxious in your pricing,
banging you out.
And now they're like, well, if you don't want to eat there, okay, dude, I promise you, I won't eat here ever again. Deal. But until then, I'm not being extorted. I'm not. This is sucker stuff. Because what? We're afraid of, oh my God, this guy's cheap. No, I understand the value of $1. This is, and also for the record, you've been out with me. I'm a very good tipper.
Sure.
But I also don't suffer fools either. Like the worst thing you could possibly do is treat me like you're doing me a favor when I'm paying out the ass. Yeah. It's the worst thing you do. Matter of fact,
no, we've gotten new waitresses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Literally. I don't think you're not.
Oh, you've swapped out waitresses?
He's like, I don't really like the way you're talking to me. Can you bring someone else over here?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've never swapped out a
waitress. I treat the waiting staff a lot of times. Like I'm like their bitch. I don't want them spitting in my food, loogie in my food, wiping their butt on any of my shit. Gerard not scared.
Not scared.
He's not scared. He's like you go back and forth at that diner that one time.
Yeah.
But we brought someone else. They were really nice, and then the new
apologized
waitress
for her.
Apologized for her, and was like, yeah, no one likes her. She's kind of a bitch.
Yeah. She sighed and rolled her eyes. I was like, I forget what it was or something like that.
I can't
remember
either.
Crazy. It was like I asked, hey, can you get me a lime for the? It was like that. It was like, can I get a lemon for the Diet Coke? She was like, oh. I was like,
whoa.
Okay. Yeah. And I went through the airport, at Newark Airport. You pick the stuff up yourself. You go to self checkout, and it asks you for a tip. Who am I tipping?
Yeah.
Do you want to round up for charity? You don't have enough money, Newark Airport? You need my money for the write-off?
Yeah.
At some point, people have to be okay with being a bad guy. I'll be okay with being a bad guy, folks. Stop the bullshit, all right? Enough's enough. Every time you hand me a beer from the tap, I don't need to give you $1. Like, just give me the cup. I'll get it myself. What the fuck? This is getting out of control.
Yeah, and I feel like when I'm checking out at stores, then I have to check out all my groceries.
Bitch, I don't work here.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, well, I haven't been trained to use this, so if a couple extra things end up in my cart that didn't get swiped, I'm just if they were to stop if they were to stop and be like, hey, you didn't pay for this, I'm like, oh, I didn't. Oh, I don't know. No one taught me how to use this machine. I'm used to going to where people boop 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 it for me.
Pay your fighters,
I'm trying my
White.
best.
Pay your fighters.
Dana White takes good care of us. Come on.
Mickey Gall arrested at Target today.
No one trained me to use this thing. I'm not an employee. I try my best.
Boopy boop boop boop.
Yeah, a couple of extra things went through. My bad.
When the pandemic first started and they were like, hey, you can only do this stuff, I was stacking steaks on top of steaks, being like,
swipe one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I consider this. It's easier for me just to steal from you than to send you the invoice for my time. I don't work here. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Look, but I will say, if it's a great place, we tip crazy. I tip first. We go to our boys' restaurant, man, and before we even sit down, $20 to the door guy, $50 to the waiter, and then we do the most baller thing I've ever heard of, which is like, just tell the chef bring us whatever.
Yeah.
Tell the chef.
Make what he wants.
Tell the chef.
He's the artist. Art me, baby.
Yeah. Of course, we've been there before. We know what it's going to cost, and we want to have a good time. And if I tip you first, I feel like you're going to do a good job. Yeah. So that's the baller move to me.
Speaking of doing a good job, I think Jackie Chan is a good father. His children or his daughter might disagree.
First of all,
but
he's Chinese and he kept a daughter. Father of the century.
Oh my.
What?
Roll the clip, please.
Hi, I'm Jackie Chan's daughter, and this is my girlfriend, Andy. We've been homeless for a month due to homophobic parents.
All right.
Is that the clip?
That's the clip. Now listen.
Need context.
I'm going to give you... So that's Jackie Chan's daughter. That's Jackie Chan's daughter. She, I guess, is... I don't know. She looks like she's in her 20s or 30s. And she's bitching, talking about being homeless because of homophobic parents. It's like, girl, you're 20 or 30 years old. Be a grown up. Go make some money, and you can if you want to work, you can get yourself a place to live. What's interesting about that, at first, I thought it was sarcastic because I looked at it and they were like the comment. We're gonna pull up the comments in a little bit, not quite yet. It was like W win Jackie Chan. I thought it was being sarcastic or being shitty, but what I think is this is a sign of the rubber band effect of they went so far woke where that fucking shit, that gaslight shit. The reason why I'm homeless is because of my homophobic father. No, you're homeless because you're lazy. You want a handout from your father. He's actually teaching you something where go get a fucking job and go work. It has nothing to do with her being, I assume. It has nothing, and everybody in the comments after reading, we assume it's not because of her being a lesbian. It's because she needs to go fucking work. What does she want, a handout? So I look, everybody in the comments is talking about how, like, good for Jackie Chan. He's not spoiling his kid. You know what I mean? But I look at it, if you look at the comments of, people aren't going for that shit anymore. That victimhood shit, that, gaslighting, saying the reason for I'm a victim because of homophobia, like using whatever your thing is against other people, trying to defame her father. People are onto that shit. We're smelling it. We've had enough of it. And I after thinking about it, I agree. Good for him. He's actually gonna maybe get her some character here. She's entitled.
I don't have enough context to really like comment on that particular situation, but I do feel like
I looked into it a little bit
back in the day. Well, if you can provide additional context,
that's pretty much what I heard. Is that she she doesn't want to work. She wants to just be able to.
My dad's
her
rich,
and her
so should I be.
So yeah, my dad's rich, so I should be rich.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, I mean, obviously that's ridiculous, right? But
Well, and when we'll check out the comments in a little bit, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I do have some gay friends who feel like the new LGBTQ movement is stolen valor. Like they're acting like the world is really hard on them, but like when they literally had to live their lives, a double life. They had to live undercover. They had to go to the village, and they had like it was a legit hardship, but also a real badge of honor to have lived through these repressive years and then kind of have their coming out party in the 90s or whatever. They feel like a lot of what they've earned through legit struggle, strife is now almost like fashion. It's like being used as fashion and be like, I'm homeless because my parents are white supremacist homophobes. And it's like, no, you're homeless because you're a lazy broke bitch. Your parents could be racist and your parents could be homophobes. There's a lot of racist homophobe parents out there, and it doesn't stop their kids from earning. It doesn't stop their kids from living their life.
Right.
The entitlement that's come from this victim generation is very, very, very dangerous, because it used to take time. It still takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to become a person of value. It doesn't take any time or effort or energy to become
a victim. Yeah.
But you get the same adulation and clout, if not more. That's a really dangerous thing. And that's kind of, now to get on my soapbox, that's where the DEI thing, and I'm glad you talked about rubber band effect,
DEI?
blowback. Yeah, diversity, equity, inclusion programs, they're collapsing on themselves. And it's happening sooner than I anticipated, but it's a very good thing. You're seeing it at Harvard, you're seeing it at higher level schools, you're seeing it at these institutions in tech and finance where people were hired over better qualified candidates specifically because they checked a box. We don't have a lesbian, we don't have a black lesbian, we don't have a Filipino non-binary. So people got jobs that other people were more qualified for. And it happened so quickly and so many jobs that these companies are really suffering very, very badly. Look at what happened with Disney. Look at what happened with InBev. Look at what happened with these companies' bottom lines, right?
Have we looked at Disney, though, and done like a 10-year analysis compared to the rest of the market? Because I saw someone was saying they lost 150% of their...
Lost 50% of their market cap.
Right, in like the last 5 years or something, but that's because they had a massive peak in 2020 because everyone was quarantined, and so did every other streaming service. So if you look at Disney and you see that giant spike around 2020, it doesn't look that bad if you account for that.
Comparatively to the rest of the market?
Like compare it to something similar. It's kind of hard because Disney's almost like its own thing, but try to compare it to like Apple.
See, I disagree, because right now they're trading at the same level they were trading in 2015. So they had this huge spike. Right. Then you're right. But in 2015, they went parabolic around 2010 with Marvel and everything like that. And they have lost all the gains going back to 2015.
Yeah, but I'm saying haven't probably a lot of other streaming services, because a lot of what they acquired was because of people overvaluing them during the lockdown.
Maybe. But the numbers don't see that.
I don't know. So I get...
Here's your lockdown spike. I get what you're saying. There's your lockdown spike.
So take the spike. Let me move my giant water cup.
So there's your lockdown spike.
Yeah. And it doesn't...
Netflix at the same time in 2015 has almost tripled its market cap.
Okay.
So I get what they're saying, and some of it was always going to come down, I suppose, is their argument.
Yeah.
But not as precipitously. They lost 10 years of business.
Yeah, I don't know. I get a little apprehensive when everyone's saying that woke is making Disney go broke, because I was just there and it was freaking packed, and most of their money isn't that from merch. Like a lot of their money's from merch, not even from the movies. So we focus on these movies tanking all the time with Disney, but that's not like a massive amount of what drives their market share.
Most of their money is from data at this point, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with like Tesla stock, and people are like, every time Elon talks, he's going to tank Tesla. They X and the Teslas, and he has so much information, so much data, imagine what the market for Tesla looks like when he busts out self-driving cars and just eviscerates Uber And now Tesla is Tesla and Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub, and it's all those things in one.
Mhm.
You know, that's not anyway. But Jackie Chan's daughter seems like a bitch.
I would say, yeah. Also, like, what kind of kid is going out there and making a post like that publicly to try to defame your parent and just be that disrespectful?
It's hard to say. You do hear things about the very difficult repressive nature of some Asian households, not to be stereotypical. Who knows? I don't know. I feel like everybody has shit, and we all knew we had shit for a very, very long time, and then just the last 2 generations have grown up thinking that they should never have to deal with shit. Like, the whole world has to be nice to me, otherwise this is a systemic issue. And it's like, when did the world have to be nice? Like, why do you have to be nice to people? Why don't anybody have to earn anything ever? Like, you don't have to earn respect. You have to give me my pronouns. You have to know who I am. Like,
and even
no,
if
what
it's
the fuck?
true, it's not like she's the first person that had a parent disapprove of who they brought home. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe it's because it's a girl or a woman or whatever, but there have been plenty of hetero couples where someone brings someone home and the parent is like, absolutely
Isn't
not
that okay,
happening.
though? Isn't that okay?
Yes,
you're
no, I'm
you're
not-
letting
yeah.
someone into
I
your
understand.
family.
I think
Now,
it's
I'm not
your-
saying it's okay to be like, oh, he's black, don't let him in or whatever. By the way, in LA, you'd be probably worse off bringing a Republican home than a black guy, right? So it's the tide has changed. But don't people have the right to tell their children, like, I disapprove of this?
I think that's why you're supposed to kind of test it. So that's why the in-laws or meeting the parents is such a big thing. That's a tribe, and you want to test this person a little bit. And what are they made of? What's their character? And
Yeah.
if they're going to be taking your baby, right, then the responsibility is moving to them to then further their family. Then you got to test them.
Yeah.
Are you going to show up for my son or my daughter?
I would even be like, are you 100% sure positive you're gay? Or are you really just trying to fit in? Right? Because this is like so much
generation.
fashion now. I think it was in LA, if I forget the stat, but it was something like 13 or 15% of kids identify as non-binary in Los Angeles. Like, you're not. There's not 15% of you are not non-binary.
But what if they are? What if the phthalates are just seeping into the water and they're just
turning the kids
becoming
gay.
more and more ambiguous? What if?
Yeah, you know what? I should keep an open mind. You're right.
Big Teflon coming in. Did you ever see that movie with Mark Ruffalo, Dark Waters or Dark Water? It was about DuPont
No.
and them poisoning the water, I think in Virginia or something. And people's teeth were falling out. Cows were dying because they were drinking from the streams that had been poisoned.
Yeah.
So it was essentially them drinking tires. Like if they had just drank an entire tire, it's just done.
That's 100% thing. There's a place in Old Bridge called Country Place, and it's got some of the most beautiful homes. But man, like everybody that you know who has cancer in Old Bridge lived in Country Place. It's crazy. Somebody needs to do something about, like, that's like an Aaron Brockovich thing. Like, what was it, landfill? Like, what happened there? What's seeping into the water supply? The amount of cancer coming out of that one place in this one town it's abnormal, and it's been happening for long enough across enough people where it's like, all right, something needs to get looked into.
Yeah,
here.
you guys should watch that movie. It's so good. It's really, really
What's
good.
it called again?
Dark Water, I think, or
Dark
Waters.
Water?
It's got Mark Ruffalo in it.
Yeah, and he's woke as shit, so I won't be watching it.
It's a good movie.
Separate the art from the
there
artist,
you
bro.
go.
Hey.
Hey.
Don't use my words against me. Don't, damn it. I've been.
Nah, you're kind of between a
vexed.
rock and a hard place right now, aren't you?
Oh,
buddy?
here we go.
Yeah, buddy. Well, you know what? You know it's better to be between? To be between two ferns.
A rock and his boyfriend?
As secretary, how many words per minute could you type? And how does President Obama like his coffee? Like himself?
Yeah.
Weak? What happens if you become pregnant? Are we going to be stuck with Tim Kaine for 9 months? How does this work? Let's talk about Trump. When he's elected president and Kid Rock becomes Secretary of State, are you going to move to Canada?
I would stay in the United States.
And what would you try to...
Try to prevent him from destroying the United States.
So you're going to lead the Civil War?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, right, because you were saying before we were rolling that you wanted to take away everyone's guns. Very cool. We need to take a break. We just need to have a word from our sponsor. Okay.
Washington is broken. The truth is, too many politicians are totally controlled by special interests and lobbyists. We're going to make America great again. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
This has been a lot of fun, Mrs. Clinton. We should stay in touch. What's the best way to reach you? Email?
How did she agree to that?
Well, I gotta say, I almost like have more respect for her for taking the piss out of herself like that.
So that's what they tried to do, and they've done that with Barack Obama. Her problem is that she's so unlikable and so like, you know, they tried the whole I carry Tabasco around, and she's like mi abuela. Like they can't. They're the worst. She's just not like that.
Yeah.
Right. So
they're not real people.
Yeah. So and he's a Democrat too. And what's so funny is that in retrospect, this is so hilarious. And you know, I guarantee they really regret doing that because, you know, you can only take the piss out of somebody who's kind of like take the piss outable, lovable, right?
Right.
You know, she's not. You know, she's trying so hard to act like a human, and she's just not.
Yeah.
Like if you watch that whole episode, she's like, Zach, where is Zach? And it's like, you know, do I blink now? Human blink now. Human drink. It's like, dude, just be a human. It's very difficult for you. You know, I mean, because if anybody said any of those things to her in person, they would die.
They get suicided.
So, you know, and that's the funniest thing.
What's the numbers?
What's like 44 people on the Clinton kill count? And
these are 44 people who are closely associated with them,
have
are
done
dead.
business with them. They're some of them are closely associated, some aren't as associated, but they're 44 victims of murder or suicide. If you know one person who's committed suicide, it's a lot. If you know two, it's so much.
Right.
If you know one person who's been murdered, it's a lot. You know two, it's so much.
Right.
If you know 44 people who have been murdered or suicided.
All right, devil's advocate. They're around more people. He was a former president. She was a presidential candidate. You know what I mean? They're mixing with a lot of people, but, you know, having a lot of employees, people around them. But hey, 44 is a lot, boy. Shit, 44 is a lot.
It's that Dave Chappelle joke. It's like, man, so one girl going to tell me Bill Cosby drugged her, but all these other women are like, it's 39. He's going, 39,
Yeah.
That's a lot of women, Bill. I mean, listen, innocent till proven guilty, but that's a lot of accusations.
Yeah.
You know, 44, dog.
Hard to defend.
It's very fun. Back in the day, comedians used to be funny, man. They used to be able to take the piss. I mean, you know, this is something that used to happen. You ever seen Chris Farley as Newt Gingrich?
The balanced budget amendment.
All in favor? Aye! Done! Go! Hit me!
Line item veto.
Love it! All in favor? Aye! Done! Go! Hit me!
Welfare reform.
Beauty! All in favor? Aye! All right! Not bad. Let's pick up the pace.
Hilarious. Chris Farley was Newt Gingrich. Don Rickles did the Reagan inauguration. Hilarious. Ripped on Reagan. You know, this wasn't always so contentious. We used to be on the same team. Democrats, Republicans, difference of opinion here or there. How do we spend the budget? This and that. But there was never any feeling that, like, man, these guys are not on our side. There was never any feeling like if these guys get elected, the country's going to go bankrupt. Like, they're sending all of our money abroad. They're owned by global interests. This is all relatively new. And what kind of like freaks me out a little bit, oh, the shirt. What kind of freaks me, you don't know what the shirt is?
No.
Is that a red and blue? Is that Democrat and
This is
Republican working together?
This is election night 2020, guys.
Oh, your microphone was blocking.
This is election night 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to see here. And if you think this is weird, you're an insurrectionist. If you think that this is abnormal in any way, you're the lunatic. Part of what's happening right now that's very strange is that this is all not normal and all brand new. And everybody's acting like it's normal. And this is politics as usual. Politicians lie. Dude, they don't spend trillions of dollars overseas. They don't do no bid contracts. None of this is normal. And it's not great.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be this way. It's a very imperfect system. The two-party system, all that stuff, the this side versus that side. My team's blue, my team's red.
Yeah.
All that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But it kind of used to be like that on the flip side, where if you were a Democrat, then you weren't invited to dinner parties, and then all of a sudden you were getting surveilled because they thought maybe you were a communist, and you know what I mean?
So you're talking like the Nixon years and
McCarthyism?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So that wasn't great either.
No, absolutely not.
And then
Absolutely not.
there was a ton of censorship happening then, because if you said anything that was anti-America or anything that was even flirting with communism, you could go to jail.
And I'm not saying this to be pro-Republican at all.
Yeah.
You can trace everything wrong with our federal government today back to the Patriot Act and the Bush administration. Even when Bush's election over Gore in Florida with the hanging chads, which was very, 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 very iffy.
Yeah.
Very iffy.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the modern and what did Daddy Bush do for a living? Just FYI? Anybody?
Oil, right?
Huh?
Oil, right?
Which you talking about? Daddy Bush?
Daddy Bush.
Oh, CIA.
CIA.
Yeah.
Before he was VP,
You're talking about George
CIA.
Sr.
That's right. So I think the three-letter agencies via the Bush and the Clintons have really, really, really seized control of the federal government, and I don't think that's for the better. You know.
Well, that was our funny clip for today.
Zach Galifianakis is very funny though.
Nah, he's funny as hell. Hangover, all-time classic. He looks good too. Looks like he's losing some weight.
That's from 2016, bruv.
All right. Well, maybe he got fatter again. I haven't seen him in a minute. They haven't made a Hangover Part 9 yet.
Actually, it's probably from before 2016, right? Because the 2016 election. Well, it's wild to think 2016 was 8 years ago already.
Crazy. It doesn't feel like it.
8 years ago. What were you doing in 2016?
Porn.
What were you doing in 2016?
Just got in the UFC.
Nice. So you were busting up old CM Punk?
Yeah.
Wow. You were busting up CM Punk. You were getting busted on.
You getting buzzed down.
Getting buzzed down.
Buzzed down, Tatiana.
What was I doing in 2016?
I don't think you can remember, buddy.
I was doing cocaine in 2016.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
I think
That's what I
so.
thought.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Here's to the good old days. May they come back again.
Cheers, ladies. Cheers. Cheers to you guys. Thanks for listening to Canceled Weekly. We're still cool as fuck. And so are you guys. Thanks for sticking around, listening to us. I'm Mickey Gall. It's Candice Horbatch. Gerard Michaels. See y'all next Wednesday.